Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Janani Bhaskar. I am marketing manager for Tyvek used in medical device packaging. And today we have the pleasure of hosting Brian King, who is the EVP of marketing at ADS. ADS, or Advanced Drainage Systems, is a leading manufacturer of high-performance thermoplastic corrugated pipes, and they provide a comprehensive suite of water management solutions to their customers. We are very excited to have you here with us, Brian. If you don't mind, could you please quickly introduce ADS and tell us a little bit more about what ADS does? And also, I want to say we are having this discussion today to talk about the really compelling efforts that ADS is making in the field of sustainability and what ADS and DuPont are doing together to make sure that companies work together to keep waste off of landfill. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about what ADS is, what it does, and also a little bit more, if you don't mind, about what made you want to work here. Thank you.
Certainly. Well, thank you very much, first off, for the invitation to talk to you today. I've been with ADS for a total of 6 weeks. So the question about what made me join ADS is very relevant. I mean, ADS is a leader, like you mentioned, in stormwater management, and we talk about the life cycle of a raindrop. So we like to capture, we like to convey in pipes, we like to store, and then we like to treat water. And we believe that returning water to its environment in the condition in which it started on a job site or a building, be it residential or commercial, is very important. And we talk about our reason being water. And so that's what we do. We believe that obviously what we do and how we impact the environment is very important. And we've been in business for about 50 years. We are the leader in, like you mentioned, in stormwater or plastic stormwater pipe products. And I was excited to join us because even though we've been around for 50 years, the opportunities that we have to continue to grow and continue to provide a positive impact on the environment, there's still so much more opportunity. And that's why I decided to join ADS. And that's why I think a lot of the people who work at ADS are here, is because not only do we sell a great suite of products, not only are we a leader in our industry, but we also have a really strong sustainable footprint. And so we think that's very important. It's more than just the right thing to do.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that introduction. And your comments are a great segue into my next question, which is what is the importance to ADS of recycling and making your products from non-virgin feedstock and really using recycled feedstock? Could you please talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned, it's more than what we do. It's not just the right thing to do, even though protecting the environment and being a good corporate citizen is absolutely the right thing to do. For us, it's also a financial imperative. I mean, because we use recycled materials, recycled feedstock, we believe it puts us in a competitive advantage situation. It puts us in a much better position for making products, for supplying raw materials and feedstocks. Not only do we buy virgin material, we also buy recycled feedstock. And that gives us, again, a competitive advantage from how we make our products, how we source the materials that go into our products. And it allows us to provide the financial results that we deliver. We are the second largest recycler of plastic in the U.S. We recycle 550 million pounds of plastics a year. The most of those is an HDPE type product. That keeps 730 million pounds of greenhouse gases out of the environment. Like I said, we're the second largest recycler. We do it because it keeps product out of landfills, and we're able to divert usable products out of a landfill and put them into an application that has a life cycle of about 100 years. So not only do we take products out of the waste stream, we put it into a useful application that keeps it out of the waste cycle for, like I said, for a century.
That's terrific. I mean, if I look at this piece by piece, you're helping other businesses you're enabling other businesses with effective disposal of their post-industrial recycled content. So you're helping them keep materials off of landfill. You're using that to produce economically viable products that then benefit your customers. So that's
Absolutely.
a win-win-win in so many different ways. So that's amazing. Thank you.
It is. I mean, I'll give you another example. I mean, here in Central Ohio, for example, where we operate, I was talking to the local waste authority, and we actually divert. I've got the number over here. We divert 20. We think about there's about 28 million pounds of waste goes into the local landfill on an annualized basis. We reckon that we keep about 14 million pounds out of that landfill. So just the plastic materials that we take in the Central Ohio area alone is about 14 million pounds of material that we divert in the local economy, right, in the local area that we can then use and turn into viable product. And like you mentioned, not only do we feel it's good from a product and a financial perspective, it also allows our customers to, when they build buildings or new buildings, to use LEED and to make sure that they're using sustainable, recycled products, renewable products in their actual buildings when they make them and when they manage the water in their environment when they build a new building. So it's a win-win-win-win-win. I mean, there's we keep going. There's lots of opportunities there, and it definitely, we talk about it globally, and I think one of the things that a company like yourself, you talk about recycling at this macro level, and it becomes it's really interesting, but it's when you actually hit it at the local level that it becomes really impactful, and that's what we try to do. We try to make the impact very local and very localized.
So speaking of local impact, Brian, could you touch a little bit upon the specific applications into which ADS serves currently?
So most of it's stormwater management or pipe, right? It's conveyance. It takes stormwater from a place that you don't want it and puts it in a place that you do want it. So it's used in a lot of infrastructure, so roads and highways, and building out airports and things like that. It's also used in commercial construction, so warehouses and buildings, hospitals, retail spaces. And then it's used in residential as well. So when you build a home, there's definitely a stormwater management solution around your home. And then finally, it's used a lot in agriculture from an irrigation perspective as well, too. You can increase the yield of agriculture by having a well-maintained and well-drained, well-irrigated area of arable land. And so you can increase yields as well, too. So pretty much everything that you look at has a stormwater or water management solution, and ADS has a product that can go into most of those applications.
So, I mean, you're touching so many different segments, so many lives saved, so many plants effectively watered and managed. That's amazing. So, from a technology perspective, Brian, I'm sure ADS has invested a lot in being able to make virgin-like products from recycled feedstock. So what are some of the challenges from a technology and materials handling perspective that go into the production of these materials?
I mean, one of the things that we've invested in is we've invested in the ability to actually process those materials ourselves. So not only do we don't just rely on third parties to provide us the input or the feedstocks. We actually have the ability to wash materials and process those materials into what we need to actually run the machines that make the products. And so we've actually vertically integrated that way, and we've invested in that area because we found that it wasn't as reliable. Once you got to a point where we were requiring quite a lot of recycled feedstock, we couldn't rely on third parties. And so we made those investments into actual facilities that allow us to take post-consumer recycled goods and actually then turn them into the raw materials that feed our manufacturing processes. And that's something that we've done, right? So we've actually invested in those. We've got, I think it's 4 locations across the U.S. that are dedicated to just that. And then we also have the equipment in some of our manufacturing locations as well, too.
So vertical integration, making sure you have the lock from sourcing to manufacturing to distribution, and then do you all? I believe are there plans to expand further into other new markets, have additional production facilities, or expand the type of materials that you can recycle?
Right. I mean, the answer to all those questions is yes, right? I mean, we're always looking at opportunities to be able to bring in different streams of materials and be able to blend those into different characteristics that we can provide different products, right? So we can adjust the materials on the input, and we can adjust what that means from a product specification. we compete in very highly specified industries. Obviously, when you're talking about building a building or a residential house or an apartment or a road or an airport, the cost of failure is very high. So making sure that we pass all the required certifications and tests, there's a lot of work that goes into that. So we're always looking for different feedstocks that we can put together and blend into different products, which allow us to make a better solution for the end use customer. And so, yeah, we're always looking for those. The other thing too is that as recycled goods become in demand, I mean, there's a lot of other companies that are using recycled input or feedstocks, that we need to be adaptable and flexible because there's more demand. More demand will drive price. Price means that we make less money, and so we're always looking for those different materials. And that's, frankly, why we have the relationship with you guys at DuPont, is because we know that you've got a great source of input material. And so we solve your problem from a waste and end of life solution, what happens at the end of life, and we take it and turn it into a raw material that makes one of our pipe products. And so we're always looking for relationships, not just from how we get stuff and how we process it, but we're also looking for relationships with companies such as yours, where we can set up those agreements and partnerships, and then we can solve your problem and you can help solve our problem.
Oh, and needless to say, we love it. And just a quick additional reminder for our listeners here, and just to provide some additional context, consistent with our commitment to implement the 4 R's, which is reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. Tyvek is obviously used in so many different applications. It's used in envelopes, it's used in building wrap, it's used predominantly in sterile medical packaging. And the production standards and requirements to go into some of these applications, particularly healthcare applications, are pretty stringent. So we do have a small percentage of our products that are sometimes off spec, and that's the post-industrial recycled content that is kept off of landfill through the efforts of ADS. So we are extremely thankful for this partnership. So it, like we keep saying, win-win-win on so many different levels. So I just wanted to ask one more question, Brian, around specific use cases. Sure. We make medical grade Tyvek. Like I said, a little bit of it is off spec, and that is processed by ADS. So when we talk about keeping material off of landfill, it's always nice to see it coming back to another healthcare facility. So I believe you also provide infrastructure services products to healthcare facilities. So could you please say a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I mean, we love high quality input feedstocks, right? Like so even though it's off spec for you guys, it's good quality material, good quality input for us. And so we have set up a solution to be able to get the Tyvek product into our stream. Now, once it's into our stream and we're manufacturing things, obviously we don't make products 100% specifically out of recycled or end of life Tyvek, but it does go into our stream, and so it ends up in a variety of different solutions. And one of the solutions is we had a project which was in I think it was in Illinois. I'm just calling it up here on my screen. It was in Carterville, Illinois, and it was the SIH Cancer Institute, and they used recycled pipe, which at some point had some recycled Tyvek into it. So not only could people in that building unwrap a medical product that's sealed in beautiful DuPont Tyvek product, but you could look outside and you could look at the stormwater management system, which hopefully you never see, because if it's doing its job, you don't see what's going on. But used in that would have been potentially some of those recycled products that came from Tyvek. So I think it's a good example of where, exactly right, you sell into the medical field, and we have products that around that building keep it safe and make sure that the people inside are receiving really high quality care.
Absolutely. So it does indeed come full circle, which is exactly what we want. So as I think further about this, Brian, there are just so many wonderful key learnings here, particularly around how there is so much cooperation and partnership possible on a B2B level to work together and find a good home for one's waste to become another's treasure, so to speak. So
Right.
any learnings to share around that, Brian, from your perspective?
Well, I mean, we've touched on some of them, right? I mean, obviously, if we can work with great corporate partners such as yourselves with good quality products and good quality brands and growing businesses, I mean, that provides opportunities for us as well too. Because if your business grows and you're making more product, ultimately, at some point it becomes a feedstock for us, and so it's those relationships that we like to establish because it's two great brands working together. It's providing a full circular economy. To your point, it's keeping waste out of landfills. It's making sure that good material is then used in another application. And so, I mean, what we try to do is we try to look as well too for end of life for our products as well too. So we have a variety of different suites of items, and we look for other partners as well too, where we can use our waste materials that they potentially could become someone else's treasure. And they could use that as their feedstock. So I think it's just smart business. I think it's good business. I mean, it's the right thing to do. But more importantly, if you do it right, it becomes a financial incentive and a competitive advantage.
I cannot think of a better way to end this fascinating conversation. And I'm very, very hopeful that we are going to have a very, very long and fruitful partnership together. It really helps that Tyvek is HDPE, #2 resin identification code, so readily recyclable and available for partners such as yourself. So thank you again so much for your time, Brian. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.